what are some fast, easy ways to build credit?
Okay, yeah, credit, super important, obviously. I would say the first step is to get advice. Like, don't try to do it yourself. Do not work with a credit repair company. Here's something that a lot of people don't understand is most of those companies, I don't want to say they're shady. I don't want to talk bad about anybody, but their strategies are wrong because there's a 7-year statute of limitations on collection accounts. And a lot of times you might have a medical bill that's 6 years and 11 months old and it's about to fall off forever. And you go hire, for a couple $1,000, debt modifier, fixer.com or, some local person. And what they're going to do, they're going to do what you can do yourself, which is dispute it and hope through the Fair Credit Reporting Acts and the laws that there's not a response in time and they can dispute it and get it removed. The problem is if you dispute that collection account and you lose that dispute, which it's all automated now, it's very difficult to dispute something and not get a response from the creditor.
Yeah.
They're hungry, they want their money. And if you lose that dispute, you're potentially going to reset that 7-year clock. So it's a trap, and it's sad. I've seen it happen so many times. So to build credit, basic things, right? Pay your bills on time, understand credit utilization and your revolving, like your credit cards, there's percentages of what you need to keep it down to. But also work with somebody who specializes in credit, like a mortgage lender, and somebody also that has time to educate. So, if your client does a credit report with me, even if they're at 800 perfect credit score, I'm going to go through the entire credit report with them and let them know, because a lot of times there might be something there. Speaking of a medical bill, they mess up so many times, and you might have a $20,000 knee surgery or a hip replacement. How old are you, Wes? You don't need a new hip.
Old enough.
You might have a hip replacement that got tagged on to Wes instead of, who knows. So to build credit, understand. That's why I like Credit Karma, because you got to know what's on your credit report first, and you got to understand how credit works. It's kind of like a secret algorithm. We don't know exactly how to get, perfect credit, but there's, things that are known that you can do. And if you don't know, then, work with somebody like a mortgage lender that can help get you approved now, or can show you a roadmap to where, hey, in 30, 60, 90, 120 days, you're going to be ready if you do X, Y, and Z.
Amen. So even if someone is thinking, oh, my credit is just not there. I want to buy a house, but I have to keep building my credit. So I hear this quite often. Instead of trying to do it on their own, what they should do is, listen, I'm going to put you in touch with Kyle, my mortgage guy. He is an expert in all things credit and mortgages, and he's going to coach you through this process. So, on your own, it might take 2-3 years, but with Kyle's guidance, we can get your credit to where it needs to be for you to take out a mortgage in less than 6 months, sometimes in 3 months.
100%. And that's why it's good to work with an agent who's a professional and has a personal relationship with a local mortgage lender, because I'm willing to give that coaching because I understand, and bad things happen to good people. You got bad credit, it's a lot of people are surprised at how quickly, by doing a couple things, making a few adjustments, how quickly that score can go up. And if you go to the wrong mortgage lender, or if you go to, badcreditmortgages.com, they don't have time. They're not going to walk you through personally. Like, this is a personal local thing where, hey, this is your credit report. You don't qualify right now. It's pretty bad, but check it out at, X, Y, Z. Let's do this. How, can you do this? I would try to, do this. And we can set out a plan to where, again, 30, 60, 90 days, you can go from a 500 to a 620 pretty quickly if you do the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I stress, guys, why would you work with someone that is on a big national level, some online company you're never going to meet, when you could work with someone like Kyle here, who is here? He will answer your calls 7 days a week. He will talk to you. I mean, Kyle, I'm not encouraging people to call you late at night, but if we need to get something done, I know we've talked on the phone late at night.
Whatever it
You're
takes.
available. And I think that most people just don't realize the resources that are available to them. as far as mortgages and credit go.
And they get burned and discouraged because, a lot of mortgage lending companies and entities and banks are super overwhelmed and super busy focusing on all their own book of business. Mm-hmm. So if your credit doesn't qualify, they might not even tell you that you don't qualify. They just ghost you, right? Just that's it. So there's not a lot of assistance or help. It's like, oh, you don't qualify, sorry. So people get discouraged, but they don't understand that. For example, if I run your score, Wes, and let's say you're a 570, right? Okay. You don't qualify for FHA because you have to be a 580. Mm-hmm. I have technology here where it's called a rapid rescore. Okay. And I have a simulator that will tell me exactly, hey, Wes, if you pay this medical bill and you put $1,000, pay $1,000 on your Home Depot credit card, your score eventually will go up 40 points. But because we're tied in with the credit bureaus to Credco, and we have this system, if you can prove that you pay that $1,000 on Home Depot and take care of the $300 medical bill, we don't have to wait 60 days for your score to change. Mm-hmm. We can use the score that you will have in the future to lock you in right now. So even though you're a 570, by tomorrow's time, after paying that Home Depot and medical bill, you could be a hypothetical 640, and we could lock in that 640 rate and get you pre-approved tomorrow.
Wow. What about secured credit cards, Kyle?
Yeah, they're great. That's definitely some advice that I give when I'm doing these credit consultations, because it's a great way to get your credit, because it's like a catch-22. Like, hey, you don't have enough credit to qualify, so you need to build credit to qualify, but we can't give you credit. And it's like, what is this? So a secured credit card is awesome, and you, as most people know, if nobody will give you $1,000 credit card because, you're a credit criminal in the past and it's okay, things happen, well, then you can give them the $1,000 collateral and be like, hey, give me that credit card on my money. And yeah, that's a phenomenal way to build credit quickly. Same thing with being an authorized signer, for example, on a family member's credit card. I mean, there's a lot of really cool ways to do it. Collections are tricky because a lot of people, I'll give them advice and then they'll go and pay off collection accounts. But it's just like that 7-year clock. If you have a collection that's 6 years old and you pay it in full, it's going to reset that clock and it's going to say collection paid off instead of collection not paid off, but it's still a collection and it's still a negative reporting. So really, in my opinion, for collection accounts, the only reasonable thing to do is if you call them, they'll always offer, like an offer in compromise, it's called, where, hey, you owe $1,000, but we're desperate and we know you're not good for it, so pay us $300. But then it's going to show paid collection on your credit report or settled collection, and it resets the clock, and it's basically a new collection account. But if you call the creditor and say, hey, that hip surgery, it was mine, it was $1,000. I'll pay you $1,000. I'll give you the full amount of the collection if you're willing to delete the collection from my credit report. Go. It's called
and that's not something they'd offer you, but if you ask for it.
And they don't always give it to you if you ask for it, but I always tell people it's worth a shot because a lot of them will take it. But collection companies don't abide by certain rules, and verbally, a lot of that stuff doesn't matter. So it's very important that if they say, yes, Wes, you pay for the $1,000, we'll remove it from your credit. Before you give these guys money, they can be weasels, right? Before you pay them, you ask them to send you something in writing stating, Wes, if you pay the $1,000, we will remove it from your credit report. Then you give them the money. Because if they don't remove it, you have that proof to show the credit report agencies, and that dispute, that one's going down. That's going to go away because they promise you have the proof of the payment and they still didn't do it. So it's real tricky, and that's, again, why it's really important to work with somebody who knows what they're doing, somebody who's professional, and somebody who has the compassion to actually want to help people and not just, make money and be an obnoxious online lender, big bank. Wells Fargo's not going to give you that advice.
No. But someone like you would, Kyle.
100%.
And that's why I give my business to you.
I love helping people. I love helping families, and all I want to do is whatever I can to help you in your business because we have that relationship, so we hold each other accountable, and that's why a client needs to work with you and not get a great mortgage.net. it's stupid.
Cool. Yeah. So there's lots of ways to approach this, but the biggest takeaway is get some help. Get some help from someone like Kyle, who is a real person you can talk to. Who's you can talk to him on his cell phone. You're not dealing with some desk jockey in a big office somewhere where you're just a number and they're just trying to make money. Because it doesn't matter how bad your credit is. It can be improved, and it can be improved much faster than you think it can. And if you get the help that you need, it's going to happen a lot faster.
100%. And get a team. Have a team around you. I always tell people, we're on your team. All we want to do is close the loan. So that's what it's all about, having a team of professionals behind you to get you through that transaction, because there's a lot of moving parts.
Awesome. Thank you, Kyle.
Of course. Anytime.